This is the Impulsive Thinker Podcast, a show for high-achieving ADHD entrepreneurs. Together, we will inform and educate you about how to improve your self-awareness while developing systems, routines, and habits for conquering the entrepreneurial world. Here is your host, Andre Brisson.
This week, we talked with Chip Conley, the founder and CEO of MEA, also known as the Modern Elder Academy. And I met him at his facility in El Pescadero in South Baja, Mexico last November, where we had an entrepreneurial retreat. And he made a presentation to our group of 25 about the anatomy of a transition. And I thought it was a very, very powerful concept. And the way he delivered the message was, to me, was transformational and very simplistic. And I love simplicity. And I'm very fortunate and privileged that he volunteered his time to join me on the podcast to discuss the anatomy of a transition as per their book called The Anatomy of Transition. And I'll put it in the show notes as well. The link to the free ebook that they have on their website at meawisdom.com. The biggest thing that got me about their concept of transition is transitions require an ending to start the transition. Sounds counterintuitive, but it made immediate sense to me. And that's why I asked him to come join us, because for transition to start, we need an end. And to initiate that, they call it an external kick or an internal shift. So it's either an external experience or something, or it's an internal shift in our mindset or view that requires the ending of something we've been comfortable with in the past, be it a relationship, a job, a stage in life, a stage in your company, or just an interest change. And what I really liked about the whole concept is the metaphor that they use. Transition is a chrysalis. So, the chrysalis metamorphosizes or transforms a caterpillar into a butterfly. So, the caterpillar has to go into the chrysalis to end being a caterpillar, which is the past. And the chrysalis is the transition side, which goes into a new beginning as a butterfly, which is the future, or as they refer to, finding a new flow. And I really like that analogy. So the transition time is the chrysalis. The caterpillar, the past, the transition, the chrysalis, new future, new beginning is the butterfly. And I really liked how he discussed how even though the butterfly comes out of the chrysalis, can't fly right away. It's a new beginning, has to air out its wings. It has to learn how to fly to be able to fly. So that's why the last phase or part of transition is new beginnings. You're a beginner again. And I really like that. Now, even though we have a new beginning, doesn't mean we're a new person or a new experience. Chip really explained that the core part of our past is still required to discover our new through line, as he referred it to finding our new flow, to find that thread to get into finding our new flow. And I really like that point is there's a part of you that's going to be constant and consistent your whole life. And that'll be your values, your beliefs. But what you're doing around you can be different for a new beginning. And in the end part of the transition, which is the first part, there's a denial stage after the external kick or internal shift. And I just want to share with you something that occurred with me because I'm in a really big transition right now myself. And I'm really stuck in the end part for a while. And a lot of it had to do with the denial stage. And the tail end of the end part is in the emotional bath, because I had a lot of emotions swirling all over the place in the bath. And I was just wallowing in it or sitting in the bathtub with it. But the denial part was huge because I had a lot of smart people, a lot of people cared about me, explain to me what I did not want to see or listen to. So I invested in hope. And I really stuck to it that there was hope that it'll work. And I failed and I refused to listen to see the actual events because that is actually an ending of my current comfort, which was very consistent, stable income for me to live my life and to support my family and kids. That was very comfortable. And I was refusing and I was really hoping it would work out, but it's not. So I'm out of the denial stage. I was swimming in that bath for a while, and now I'm engaging into my messy middle now with this transition. And the other part I really liked about what Chip said was, I've always had a mindset. 99% of the time I have a mindset, but sometimes I have a fixed mindset. But just the mic bomb drop that he had was growth mindset is about improving ourselves, not proving ourselves. People with a fixed mindset are out to prove themselves, and that is a regressive mindset. And, now it's all about improving my situation, improving me, and building my own abilities. And the final point I really want to talk about, and I think we need to be aware of this, especially as growth mindset driven ADHD entrepreneurs, is that transitions do not occur in silos. They do not occur one at a time. And I really like the phrase that Chip referenced, one of his colleagues called it. They're called life quakes. Transitions come in batches and referred to as life quakes. And that made a lot of sense to me because I started to look back at my biggest transformation times. It wasn't just one or two things going on at once. It was 5 or 6 going, and big transitions had to be dealt with at that time. So like my life tempest, the loss of that one company, the toxic partnership, me losing all confidence in myself and my ability to move forward. I really got to a scarcity mindset. That was a life quake. Out of that, diagnosis with diabetes, changed my health, diagnosis with severe ADHD, clarity on myself and what I always believed myself to be is true. Being on the autism spectrum as well has really opened my eyes. So out of these life states, I found my through thread and I'm finding a flow now. And because of that new beginning, I'm at the new beginning stage of my life tempest, which is now the beginning of the transition of this current stage of the end. So not only do they occur as one, I think I'm at the tail end of the one and another one starting. And I think there's a big mindset growth mindset way. The other life quake I had was my first company I worked for. I really grew. I was able to have a lot of skills as an engineer and a business-minded person. The team, my partners at the time didn't appreciate that. I was getting married. I was moving into a big house. I just sunk all of our savings into renovating that house, then decided to start my own company. Life quake. Came out of it okay. And I kind of lost where I was going to go with this right now, but what I like about this image, and I'm staring at the anatomy of a transition, is like a wool ball, a big messy blob, and comes out with one string of yarn, right? And that's the path you come out, but it's a messy, the end is a big ball of yarn that you got to figure out what to do. And then you got the messy middles, which is figuring yourself out and then to start a new beginning. And like Chip said, and I think it's a very important point, it's called new beginnings for a reason. You are not going to be fully competent. You're not going to master it all when you get out of the transition. It's a new beginning. You are a butterfly. And from there, you can grow. And that's why I always said, well, not in this way, but a couple of thoughts came coalesced with me on a chat with Chip. All my past growth steps and transformation has all had to do with a transition because I came out of it as a new beginner and not afraid to learn and to grow from there. So I think if you have a growth mindset, understanding the transition has 3 parts and you understand the 3 parts and you understand where you are, I think will help you be able to measure your progress and set progress goals, and you can have a better idea and more confidence to get through it. So let me know what you think of his anatomy of transition model, and I would love to hear from you. Thanks again for listening. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Impulsive Thinker podcast. If you enjoyed it, subscribe, rate, and review the show. It helps us get discovered by listeners like you. If you can share this with 2 other people, that would be greatly appreciated. Please go to our website, tacticalbts.com, to check out the programs we are currently offering, especially the ADHD transformation journey for the high-achieving ADHD entrepreneur. Again, that's the website, tacticalbts.com. Thank you, and talk to you soon.
Thank you for listening to the Impulsive Thinker podcast. If you have a question, comment, or suggestion for the show, please visit theimpulsivethinker.com. The Impulsive Thinker podcast is produced by Tactical Breakthroughs and hosted by Andre Brisson. Remember, ADHD is only a part of you, not all of you.